We'll continue to keep you updated on the latest news coming out of Liverpool following yesterday's appalling incident in the city centre. And we can cross here now with talkSPORT reporter Nick Ellaby for the very, very latest and what we know. Nick, good morning.
Hi Nick. Good morning, Ali.
Nick, obviously tragic scenes yesterday. Big Cass was up there actually. Said the whole thing was, as it's been unfolding, was absolutely horrific. What can you tell us this morning, mate?
Well, we had that press conference at 10:30 last night with the Merseyside Police and the North West Emergency Services, where they told us really the most shocking news that 27 people were taken to hospital after the incident at around just after 6 p.m. last night. As you heard in Will Hobbs' bulletin at the top of the hour, 27 people taken to various hospitals in Liverpool and around Liverpool, 4 people seriously injured, and one of those is a child. I think probably the most distressing news that we got was from the North West Fire Service, where the chief of the fire service here told us that they got the news, they were informed of what happened at 6 yesterday evening following Liverpool's Premier League title parade, and his crews were on the scene within 4 minutes. Eyewitness reports say that a black SUV drove into a number of people, and if you're not watching on the live feed, I'm actually just down the street from Water Street. I'm on Dale Street, which just runs into Water Street in the centre of Liverpool. We're very close to the docks. That black SUV driving into a number of people here. Eyewitnesses say that they heard a kind of pop, pop, pop sound as bodies hit the bonnet, and then those fire crews arrived just 4 minutes after it happened, after they were informed, and found 4 people under the car. One of those people was a child. They were taken to hospital very, very quickly. I know an air ambulance arrived as well. Some 20 or so other people were treated at the scene but weren't needed to be taken to hospital as well. So, you know, we're looking at nearly 50 people injured in this attack. I know that people were taken to nearby restaurants to have their injuries looked at. It looks and feels like the whole community reacted very, very quickly, including the emergency services, to what happened. And we're currently waiting for updates on the status of those people who are injured. But as I say, Mayor of Liverpool, Steve Rotherham, we've had comments from him in the news saying that, you know, this city stands together. A lot of the football clubs, Liverpool, Everton, both putting out messages, working with police, sending their best wishes and thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families. And then, as people have been reporting, as we've been reporting on the station in the news bulletins, one man, a 53-year-old white man, was arrested yesterday evening. When I arrived on the scene, I was trying to get out of the city. There were 1 million people on the streets of Liverpool yesterday. I managed to get here at about 7 p.m. and I did see about 6 police holding a white bald guy, patting him down, putting him in the back of a van and taking him off. The police say that they're not looking for anyone else currently in connection with this incident. They don't believe it's terror related. But their investigations are ongoing. In the street behind me, you've got a mobile police station set up. They're obviously still talking to eyewitnesses. There are forensic teams here as well, sort of examining the scene, and still a huge police presence here. And also, North West Fire Service say that their crews will stay in the area for the next few days, just to, you know, make sure that people feel a little bit safer.
Nick, thanks very much for that updated report. Brilliant report, and obviously a city very much stunned and numb this morning. Thanks again. I know that when I doubt we'll speak to you later on today. Okay, well, how can something like this happen? That's a big question. How can we make sure we feel safe at future parades? Let's welcome to the show police commentator and former Met police officer Graham Whetton. Graham, thank you very, very much for taking the time to join us this morning. We really, really appreciate it. Now, the obvious question that we can't answer this morning, Graham, would be why this has happened, but is there any way you can tell us how it's able to happen?
Morning both. No, at the moment, no, that's still early days. That will be part of a key aspect of the police investigation, how that vehicle got access to the actual route that the people, the pedestrians, were on. As you know, if you know these parades, quite a lengthy route these coaches take, so it's very difficult and challenging to completely secure it. You have to have some form of barriers at locations that you can move in case the other emergency services need to get access to the route at some point during a parade. So you have to have a very flexible system where some barriers in certain locations can be moved to let fire engines, ambulances, police vehicles into that area if they need to for another incident. So it's very difficult on occasions to completely lock it down and secure it so no vehicles going at all. So that will be part of the investigation as to how and where that vehicle got onto the parade route and then was amongst the crowd.
Yeah. Graham, it's very difficult to ever find a solution to an individual that takes it upon himself to, obviously commit such a serious offence, because, 1 million people and then one individual decides to do something that is pretty horrific. It feels to me like it's nearly impossible to police.
Yeah, it is. It is very difficult to get into people's minds, to actually see what's in somebody's mind, either before the event took place, or maybe something's happened during the parade itself that's caused this. Again, motive, the reason why, will be a key part of the investigation team's focus as to not just how it happened, but why it happened as well. That's normally the one question that most investigators are so key to establish the reason why, the motivation behind it.
Is there anything, Graham, looking at it specifically, and I know it's very, very early days, is there anything that we all can learn from, particularly police, perhaps, for future parades?
Well, they will review it once the actual investigation, they've dealt with the individual arrested and the injured people have been cared for, next of kin informed, etc. There will be a much more slow time review about any future parades, the locations, the route, the length, access that's allowed, how they block access off. That will be reviewed for future parades. It's always a learning exercise in policing when you're dealing with such. You mentioned about 1 million people, I think it was. That's a huge amount of people to get into an area and then to totally secure. And you've both been to Liverpool town centre. It's a very busy area with loads of access routes, etc., roads. So exceptionally challenging to completely and safely secure that and have that sort of parade take place. But they will review the policies, the processes, the safety process at some point in the future.
Graham, I was in West Derby, which is just about 4 or 5 miles outside Liverpool city centre, and there was security there, and amazingly there's huge amount of families, young children, and it was all pretty calm, I came away thinking, after I'm listening to all the stuff on talkSPORT last night as I was driving back, and thinking, I don't, that one incident in a 1 million people, and yet I was experiencing that euphoria, atmosphere, celebration of watching the team bus go past, and then obviously it's been shrouded by what happened.
Yeah, it has. Again, it just shows the length of the parade and how many people came out, how many people wanted to celebrate and see the team and celebrate the fact they won the title. So it just shows the challenge with emergency services, how things can change so quickly, how they have to react so professionally, turn up, manage the people that are there, get the people that are injured safely away, and it's about keeping access routes open to get the emergency service vehicles in. Fortunately, to some degree, there was a significant amount of ambulance personnel, police personnel, and the fire service there because it was such a large event. So they were already had some resources on scene, but just managing the people in the area to safely move those away, but get those emergency service vehicles in, treat the people, get them to hospital. So really challenging event, very dynamic event, and it's also very difficult then to keep track of a record of the number of people injured, where they've gone. Some people self-presented at hospital. So it does take some hours to collate all this information because you want to be factual. You don't want to cause any alarm to people waiting for loved ones to come home.
It's a little bit... I mean, I've been on parades myself with the Republic of Ireland coming back with a huge amount of fans turning up, and and Ali would have had it with Glasgow Rangers celebration. You're a little bit in the unknown as well, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, there's a huge element of unknown factor in policing terms. You have to prioritise what you're dealing with at that time. So initially, when the injured persons, then the suspect and the person detained, then the vehicle itself, then the crime scene, then getting the people away. Same for the ambulance service personnel, getting to the scene, treating those most seriously injured, assessing them, prioritising them, identifying the hospitals, because you want to get the most seriously injured to the closest hospital. So it's a very difficult situation, difficult incident to manage. But from what I've seen and heard so far, I think emergency services did a fantastic job in managing that very quickly, very spontaneous incident, no warning, no notification, etc. They've literally switched into a very professional mode from what was a hugely celebratory parade.
Just a final one, Graham, and thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. In terms of a parade of this magnitude, there must be an enormous amount of planning between police, emergency services, council that goes into the preparation for this.
Yeah, huge amount. Endless like strategy and tactical meetings between all the services involved, the local authority, the emergency services, identifying areas and locations where you have some of your resources, how many are on the route, where you're going to start, where you're finishing, times, etc. Making sure that the people who are attending can get in and get out safely, so it's not crushing any part of the parade area, because people want to go to the popular places, and so trying to just spread those numbers out, making sure they're managed and safely contained. So huge amount of planning goes into this. And that will form part of the review as well. In the fullness of time, they will look at all the planning, the stages they went through, the resources they had there. Did they respond quickly enough? Were they in the right places? Was the vehicle access sufficient, etc. And the routes to the hospital. So a lot of reviews to be done on this, but immediate concern is about motivation, how wide this took place.
Graham, thanks very much.
Thanks,
we really
Graham.
appreciate the time to give us your insight on what was a quite horrific incident yesterday. Thanks very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue to keep you updated on the latest news coming out of Liverpool following yesterday's appalling incident in the city centre. It certainly was. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Ali and Big Cass.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.